Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the class of marketing management. The topic for today's discussion is consumer decision making process. Before we discuss the process of decision making, we understand certain situations where the consumer buy, the situations in which consumer buys. So, from the bottom, the first situation can be a routine response behavior. That means things which are of routine use, they are being purchased by the consumer. And while purchasing such products, the consumer is pretty much aware about the companies, the brands, the products available in the market because they are of routine buy. Hence, lesser consumer decision making process is involved in routine response behavior. That means the consumer do not go through the entire process of decision making and may come to a conclusion on his past experience. Next level is limited problem solving. That means that a consumer is going to purchase a product or a service which will last for a longer duration or which may be of greater value to the consumer. Here, the consumer follows the decision making process as the involvement of consumer is more in purchasing than the routine response behavior. That means that the consumer will follow almost the entire decision making process. The next level is extensive problem solving. Here, when there is very high involvement of the consumer in purchasing process or buying process, this level includes products like some technical products like laptops, like mobile phones, televisions, or even buying a property, wherein consumer follows the entire decision making process. So we move on further to see the factors that affect the type of decision making process used. Now, importance of the decision. If the purchase decision is very important to the consumer, it is significant, the consumer will follow the extensive problem solving approach and will go through the entire decision making process. Next is extent of previous experience. On the basis of previous experiences, the decision making process changes and the involvement of customer changes. If consumer have good experiences about from the past, they may go for a repeat purchase, which will not include the entire decision making process. Next, existence of well-established decision criteria. This means that the consumer has already decided what are the criteria for making the purchase, and the consumer will make the purchase only if the product satisfy all the criteria. Next, amount of information at hand about each alternative. We know that in market there are several alternatives available for product and services, and consumer need to gather information about the various products and services available in the market and then decide upon which to purchase or buy. Now, if information is scanty, if it is less, then it will create a problem for the consumer to decide, because he may not be able to compare the features or advantages, or he may understand the product well. But if the information is available in optimal amount, then the consumer will feel easy to decide upon which product to purchase or which service to purchase. Over information will also create confusion in the mind of customer. Next, the number of alternatives available. Lesser the alternatives, lesser the confusion, lesser the evaluation of alternatives. And if the number of alternatives is more, it will require extensive comparison of various alternatives and then approaching to a final verdict. Next, model of consumption being followed. So how the consumer is going to use the product, consume the product or service is also important while making buying decision. Now we come to the model of consumer decision making. This is a generic model, mostly applicable in most of the purchase decisions. The consumer decision making process, which is divided in two parts. The first part is about the process of decision making, and the second part is outcomes. So, for a marketer or a student of marketing, it is important to understand excuse me, understand the process as well as the outcomes. We in this class we'll discuss the process part of this entire consumer decision making. Excuse me. The process part consists of three stages. First is problem recognition. Second is pre-purchase search. And third is alternative evaluation. A consumer goes through these stages to come to an outcome, which may be purchase, or it could be rethinking or reevaluating the alternative. So problem recognition stage is the first stage wherein the consumer realize that there exists a problem, that he is being deprived of something. It may also be termed as need recognition, wherein the consumer feels that he is falling short of something, he requires something or wants something. Okay. So this is the problem recognition stage. Next is pre-purchase search. In this stage, the consumer gathers information. The information can be about company, about product, services, about benefits, about the product uses, about any XYZ thing which concerns about the decision making. So here in like in earlier it used to happen that consumer used magazines or newspapers or other articles wherein they could get some information about the product, but these days there are several sites available online which can easily compare the alternatives and which can easily give the information about the products and services which are available in the market. Next is evaluation of alternatives or alternative evaluation. In this stage, the consumer compares all the alternatives which are available with him and comes to a conclusion or decision after the evaluation of the alternatives. This stage is very important as it utilizes the information available with the consumer, on the basis of which the consumer may decide which product is best fit for his needs, wants, and requirements, and the product which can satisfy the consumer. So the purchase decision will depend upon this stage evaluation of alternatives. Next part of the consumer decision making is the outcome. The outcomes can be purchase and post-purchase evaluation. The post-purchase evaluation will happen only if the consumer purchases the product or services. Now, before this stage, consumer can also go for a rethinking, and consumer may go for the process again. Now, purchase decision is also important because at times consumer may decide to buy the product instantaneously, or at times the consumer may postpone the purchase. Post-purchase evaluation is the evaluation of products and services after making the purchase. There is a concept of post-purchase dissonance, which means that the consumer reconfirms his purchase whether he has made a right decision or a wrong decision. It happens with all of us whenever we buy a product. We try to reconfirm whether the purchase was a good purchase or not. So in next class, we'll discuss in detail need recognition, pre-purchase search, evaluation of alternatives, and we'll cover all the concepts related to these three steps of consumer decision making process. Thank you for today.